بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. Inshallah, we'll go over verse number 33 and 34 in Surah Yusuf in juz number 12. So what's happening so far in the story of Yusuf is that Zulaykha, she invites a group of her friends and they're over. When they're over, she gives them a knife to cut the fruits. And that's when she commands Yusuf and the guards to take Yusuf and bring Yusuf ﷺ in front of them. When Yusuf ﷺ walks in front of all of these women that are being hosted by Zulaykha, Zulaykha was the wife of the governor who tried seducing Yusuf, tried calling Yusuf to a haram act to do zina with her. But Yusuf ﷺ ran from her. So now this is the second incident that's happening. Now, when Yusuf ﷺ walks in front of them, he walks by, all these women, right when they're about to cut the fruits, they look at Yusuf and then they responded, they say, Hasha lillah, this is not a man. This is an angel. This is how beautiful Allah made Yusuf ﷺ. And instead Allah says, وَقَطَّعْنَا أَيْدِيَهُنَّ, they ended up cutting their hands because they were mesmerized by the beauty of Yusuf ﷺ. Right after that, Zulaykha announces the truth. Zulaykha says that the truth is, I was the one who seduced Yusuf. Because the rumor was they tried making a lie against Yusuf, that Yusuf tried doing something wrong with Zulaykha. Zulaykha now confesses and she says, لَقَدْ رَاوَدْتُهُ عَنْ نَفْسِي فَاسْتَعْصَمْ, I was the one who tried seducing him. And Yusuf ﷺ, he tried seeking purity, seeking protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then she makes a threat. وَلَئِن لَمْ يَفْعَلْ مَا آمُرُهُ, if Yusuf does not do what I command him to do. Yani right now she wanted, in front of all these women, she's commanding Yusuf. She's trying to entice and seduce Yusuf once again. She says, Yusuf, if you don't listen to what I'm telling you to do, haram act, zina. She's trying to tempt Yusuf ﷺ once again. وَإِن لَمْ يَفْعَلْ مَا آمُرُهُ لَيُسْجَنَنَّ وَلَيَكُونَ مِنَ الصَّاغِرِينَ. This is verse number 32. I will imprison him and he will be disgraced. Two things. If you don't listen to me, you don't do the haram act, then I'm going to put you in prison, O Yusuf. And on top of that, I'm going to make you disgraced, make you badman. And then look at the response of Yusuf ﷺ. Yusuf says, قَالَ رَبِّ السِّجْنُ أَحَبُّ إِلَيَّ. At a time when your desires are being ignited, at a time when you're being tempted, and you have this type of fitness, one of the worst fitna for men, one of the worst trials for men, when in a moment like this, when you're being called towards to fulfill your desires and to commit zina, there's the biggest only help, and the biggest help is you make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's how you protect yourself from this. Yusuf ﷺ, seeing this, right away he makes dua to Allah. Rabbi as-sijnu habbu ilay. Oh my Allah, the prison is more beloved to me. It's more dear to me than mimma yad'unani ilay, what these women are calling me towards. Ya Allah, protect me from this filthy act. Ya Allah, protect me from this filthy situation right now. Ya Allah, you protect me. It's the biggest lesson for us. Seek protection from Allah. When you want to do a sin like this, or your desires are ignited, right away make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because you will need the help of Allah to control that desire. You will need the help of Allah to overcome that lust and that desire of lust. Or else there will be nothing but regrets. We have had many cases, few cases, where, na'udhu billah, youngsters in school, na'udhu billah, or elsewhere, they ended up doing these acts. And then they were crying and regretting, just for 10 minutes of joy. For the entire life, they're full of regret. They felt as if they're not Muslims anymore because they felt as if there's no iman in their heart. This is how dangerous these type of filthy acts are. So he makes dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then he says, oh my Allah, third part, at the end of the day we're humans. Doesn't matter if you're imam or mufti or not. When something like this happens, you better seek protection from Allah. You better run away. Don't even come close to it. That's why the rules of parda. covering and dressing. Islam is so strict about this to avoid this filth from society. Then وَإِلَّا تَصْرِفْ عَنِّي كَيْدَهُنَّ أَصْبُ إِلَيْهِنَّ وَأَكُمْ مِنَ الْجَاهِلِينَ. Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam says, "Oh my Allah, if you do not remove, avert, divert their plot, because they made a plot right now. They're going to seduce Yusuf and na'udhu billah, have him commit the wrong act with all of them. Not just Zulaykha, with all of them. And then says, if you don't protect me from this, my Allah, there's a chance that I might get inclined towards them. And then I will be from the jahilin, from the ignorant ones, from the arrogant ones, from the losers." Upon hearing this dua of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, when you're sincere in your dua, you want to protect your faith, you want to protect your chastity, you want to protect your purity, and you make dua to Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect you. فَاسْتَجَابَ لَهُ رَبُّهُ. Allah says, فَاسْتَجَابَ لَهُ رَبُّهُ. His Lord responded to him. This dua of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, فَصَرَفَ عَنْهُ كَيْدَهُنَّ. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removed this plot of theirs away from Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. إِنَّهُ هُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. Indeed, Allah is the all-hearing and the all-knowing. Allah knows everything. He sees you wherever you are, whatever you want to do, whatever haram act you want to do, Allah knows it, even though you're trying to hide from your mom in the darkness of night under your blanket. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. You better be careful. And then make dua to Allah that Allah protects you from this. For indeed, we need the help of Allah to protect ourselves from the desires. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us tawfiq to understand the dangers of these desires. May Allah give us the ability to control our desires. In this month of Ramadan, we're training for this purpose. When the purpose of fasting is taqwa, right? And to get taqwa, you have to train your desires. If you don't train your desires, you will not reach taqwa. How do we train our desires? One of the biggest way is fasting. Fasting from food and water. And that's why I mentioned in my previous lectures, make sure you don't overeat, because then you're not going to control your desires. You're going to spoil your desires. So iftar time, sihri time, make sure we do not overeat. We will not be able to attain taqwa because we will not be able to control these desires. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us tawfiq and to implement what has been said.